A Brewer City Council seat will remain empty until November. Deputy Mayor William Kimball resigned from his seat at the end of July. Kimball joined the council in 2024, and his term was set to expire in November of next year. At last night's meeting, Mayor Jen Morin attributed Kimball's resignation to growing demands from his business, saying he felt he could not evenly split his time and attention between the two roles.
So Brewer has always worked hard to lead with respect, professionalism, and a genuine commitment to our community. We've not always agreed on every issue, but we continue to work together and remain focused on what's best for the people that we serve. On behalf of the City Council, I want to thank Bill for his service to the City of Brewer. Grateful for the time and the perspective and the thoughtful approach that he brought to the council, and genuinely wish him and his family and his business the continued success.
Kimball's spot will remain vacant until the next general election in November, when Brewer voters will choose the new deputy mayor.